big one that I think is going to be the mover and shaker. Okay, now just what I wanted to show you, this is the actual StatsCan report, and again, just to show you how the trade actually feels about any StatsCan report or anything really coming out of Canada. There was no conference calls this morning. There was nothing. I'm probably the only person doing a webinar on a StatsCan report. You know, that's why it's going to be quickly discounted. And just to show you where they bury their report, this is going to, I've already got a link to it, but you have to, it's not very easy to find. You have to find it, and then you have to know that they call it principal field crops, and then this is the actual report. Basically what I want to point out on this side of things, excuse me, is this number right here where they come up with the seeded acreage. The question that was asked of farmers was, and again it was taken from May 25th to June the 3rd. If you could seed today, would you still seed this crop? And what would you say? I mean, of course, if I could seed today, I would still seed that crop, especially when canola is trading at $12.75 a bushel and Saskatchewan $12.50 compared to other crops. Of course, you'd say you'd still get your derm in the ground. But simple fact is, guys weren't seeding that day, and they didn't get to seed. Some didn't get to seed at all, and some only got to seed basically about June 3rd. And later on. So of course that's why oats are going to be going up after any report like this. Oats are going to be huge. This is a big number here because we already had the wheat board come out last week. This report's saying 4.4 million acres of durum went in the ground, but CWB last week already said there would be a struggle to have 2 million acres in all of North America in the ground. So we have, again, contradicting reports. Any report taken a month or released a month after it's taken really is discounted. The CWB's, unfortunately, is probably more accurate. And you'd see right here the good old disclaimer, and there's a reason they have it color-coded and highlighted here right in the middle. Is you know, it's subject to change, and it can be subject to revision. This is a keynote right here for 2 years. Well, I don't know. Any government agency, I guess maybe it takes them 2 years to get into that, to get actual numbers. This area right here, field peas, this report is actually very bullish on field peas, and that's why we've seen, again, the trade knew 2 weeks ago field peas were going to be a hot commodity, yellows, greens. And they adjusted the prices accordingly. So, I mean, this report coming out a month later doesn't really help us. And here's the actual report. This is what it looks like. I did post it to the web page under StatsCan Seeded Acre Reports. So if I didn't bore you enough right now, you can go and really look into the numbers. Again, the numbers, you have to remember the question that was asked. If you could seed today, would you still seed these acres? Just a crazy question. Basically, there should have been questions asked as to, if you can't seed by June 1st, will you change your acreage? But I don't do the reports. So again, another number I want to point out is spring wheat. Spring wheat, by all accounts, 17.5 million acres. That likely will be discounted a bit, and did get in the ground. The most part, this 19.8 definitely didn't get in the ground, but how much is it going to be discounted? Is it going to be 18 million? Is it going to be 17.7? Like I think it could shake out to at the end of the year. That's still to be seen, and we won't know that till fall for sure. You see barley last year, 6.9 got in the ground, 7.1 is what they're projecting this spring. That's why barley's going to be bullish. If you took basically green feed silage and lost acres out of this number here, we could be looking potentially at excuse me, we could be looking potentially at 6.3 to 6 million acres only of barley, which the 5 million acres is classified as a specialty crop, and I don't know if you remember, about 2 years ago I said barley by 2015 would be a specialty crop. Another thing I want to point out, 2006 I was one of the rare guys out there when seeded acreage in canola was only about 10.5 million acres. That coming off of 2005. I was saying that by 2015 we'd have more canola in the ground than spring wheat. I just saw the trend going that way, and you see it this year. I think no matter what canola shakes out at, we're going to have more canola in the ground than spring wheat. And lastly, I want to show, well, here's the trade right now. When I first started the report, canola was down $16 a ton. Now it's down, it's been trading for a half an hour. Excuse me, it's down only 8. Like I said, it's a lot to do with this is soybeans right here. Electronic beans are down 22 cents because guess what? Corn's down limit again. Limit is 30 cents, so obviously this can't hold because, or sorry, limit was increased today to 45 cents. So that's correct. It'll be trading at 32. I don't think corn's going to hold this number either. There's pretty strong support at 650. If it closes below 650, corn will be going down, likely to test the low $6 range. Just huge profit taking place in corn right now because there's 2 big reports coming out next week in the U.S. And I anticipate that's going to be coming bouncing back up slightly. But again, canola more so than our report is likely due to just beans going down right now, and beans, of course, are following corn. So the trade likely will discount this a good chunk of today, possibly even tomorrow. But then it's going to turn to whatever growing conditions are going to be like here in the next, say, 4 to 6 weeks. So if there's any questions, you can type it in the chat box, and I'll try answer them if possible. Again, like I said, numbers are just numbers. When we're on the ground, we know what has actually happened out there. Canola, if you bring up November canola here on a chart, basically, even if you take into account a $10 to $15 drop today, that would put us about at this level, and you see there's heavy support along this line at the 550 range. Next support line is basically 530, and we're likely going to go down and test this and then bounce back up. Oil seeds are very strong in the world market due to the French rapeseed and their drought, and you know, we're just going to have to ride out the storms just like we have been all spring. You know, it takes 3 weeks to go up $20-30 a ton, and then it can take 2-3 days to come down $20-30 a ton. So it's not easy to watch, but that's why using a target system and just pricing into a target, into the futures and setting a reasonable target is likely the way to go. So, okay, I see there's no questions, so this will be posted to the website likely by dinner time today, so you can go watch it if you need a sleeping pill at night. Watch it for 15 minutes before you go to bed. And any questions, always feel free to call me, 588-5077. Thanks. Bye.